Coming up on Mountain News at 6, the latest on 3 devastating fires. One turned deadly and another destroyed a historic school. And with more snow coming down, crews are trying to keep the roads clear again heading into the weekend.
And we're still watching a winter weather advisory and a winter storm warning.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
We are dealing with a winter storm for the second weekend in a row, but no ice this time. That's the good thing. Possibly a few inches of snow, though, in some areas, and very dangerous temperatures. Meteorologist Megan Dusmar has the latest on this first alert weather day.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Steve. With temperatures staying as cold as they are, we're only focusing in on that snow. Thankfully, no ice is in the forecast, although we still are hanging on to some ice from last weekend's system, so be careful still as you're heading out on the roadways. Here's a look at those winter weather alerts. The purple counties are where we're seeing that advisory, but the winter storm warning is for those folks in that pink area. That's where you're going to see those higher chances for snowfall and snowfall accumulation, with some folks in higher elevation communities seeing locally even higher amounts. Here's a look right now at what we're seeing on satellite and radar, really focusing in as we're traveling into the southeastern portion of the region. And that's where it's going to stick as we're heading through the next several hours. And just like Steve was talking about, those temperatures are very cold. It starts off right now with a lot of folks already hanging out in the teens. Feels like 9 degrees right now in Wise and in Logan, and it's only going to get colder from here. That's what we'll continue to monitor as we're heading into the weekend. Steve.
All right, Megan, thank you. A southeastern Kentucky woman has died in a house fire that firefighters had numerous challenges in battling. It broke out Thursday night at a home in Knox County. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to the fire chief about the weather making this fire difficult in more ways than one.
A house in the Cannon community of Knox County was burning when the Richland fire chief says volunteers arrived on scene Thursday night. Making matters worse, the home was up a hill with only a steep road to access it. Firefighters stretched out 500 feet of hose.
So every 2 steps they took forward, they were sliding back 3. Falling down, my guys are beaten, banged up, you know, that's not compared to what the family's going through.
That's because not only was the house destroyed, someone died in it. The woman's body was found in the kitchen. The assistant chief was the first there.
Yeah, when Johnny got to the scene, the home was fully involved. And like I said, he lives less than 1/10 of a mile from the scene, so he was there quick.
Kentucky State Police have identified the woman who died in the fire as 66-year-old Catherine Smith. The coroner tells me they have sent her body to Frankfort for an autopsy. The chief suspects the fire started in the living room. He believes she was trying to get out when she was overcome.
It's hard. If this would have been a 75 and sunny, we would have stood a good chance. Well, I had a firefighter here, actually, that was working on an antenna on a truck. So the truck went rolling out the door within 30 seconds of the call coming out.
Just walking around the trucks on the road, which were icing up, was difficult. Chief Mills says the cold weather has him concerned because it can hamper the ability to get to emergencies. In Knox County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The Barberville Fire Department, state highway workers, the Knox County Sheriff's Office, Knox County Coroner, and others also assisted in that fire response. 2 people were injured during a house fire in Rockcastle County. It happened on Merrittburg Cemetery Road yesterday afternoon. Mount Vernon fire officials say one man was flown to the University of Louisville Burn Center and another was treated at Rockcastle Regional Hospital. A dog was also rescued from the home. Fire officials believe the origin of that fire was a kerosene heater. Another fire destroyed the historic Dessie Scott School building in Wolfe County last night. Dessie Scott is home to children with disabilities who are wards of the state. Madison Porter shares how this community is looking to come back from the devastating fire.
The Dessie Scott School went up in flames late Thursday night. Principal Robert Creech says he tried to salvage what he could, but it was no use against the roaring fire.
It's an older building and a lot of wood in there. It just rapidly took off, and once it got going, there wasn't much stopping it.
Desi Scott is home to children being cared for by the state. They live here, and the school prepares them for independent living and meaningful contributions, which is what makes this loss so hard for Creech and other staff.
We teach them daily living skills, anything that they might need to know when they get out. You know, they have jobs, they have chores they learn.
Head teacher Debbie Harris says even the students are devastated by this loss. They asked how are they going to continue to learn, but the community here is resilient and say they'll find a way to continue their mission.
They wanted to go to school, they begged to go to school. They love school. Never had kids do that before.
School staff spent Friday discussing next steps and how to continue teaching without the building. Creech says Desi Scott Children's Home has other buildings on campus that he hopes they can use in the meantime.
On the other side of this building, we've got a nice big church chapel. Maybe utilize it or admin building or some of her cottages.
While those buildings can't replace the work and opportunities lost here, Harris and Creech say the most important thing is nobody was hurt.
Everything's gone. But I said, we have us. We have our family.
In Wolfe County, Madison Porter, WKYT.
Wolfe and Lee County Fire Departments responded last night. The principal says crews decided to let the fire burn out safely rather than create more damage. The cause is still under investigation. Well, snow is already accumulating again in some areas throughout the region, and road crews are continuing their work on the heels of the ice and snow from last weekend. WYMT's Buddy Forbes spoke to officials with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet about the process.
The snow is still piling on and the plows are still hitting the pavement.
This next storm that we're coming, we've not had a lot of downtime from the previous storm.
Kentucky Transportation Cabinet District 12 officials say crews are hard at work keeping the roads clear, encouraging drivers to be cautious and aware of the lines and limitations involved.
Salt is only effective to a certain degree. That's one of the major things. I think sometimes the public thinks it's just the save all, and quick as we put it down, it'll be fine, but it doesn't actually work that way. Another thing that we want to talk to people is there's a difference in county roads, state roads, city streets.
Crews in every department are working in 2 shifts to make sure someone is always addressing the needs. And many of the trucks are getting some touch-ups ahead of the weekend weather.
Because you put a lot on these trucks when you run them 24/7. And right now we're in a 3-week, we've been doing it for 3 weeks now.
Equipment manager John Dixon says the garage crews have been welding, wrenching, and working around the clock.
We try to get prepared when they're given a snow event coming. We'll go over the trucks with the guys. The maintenance mornings will go over them. They'll call us with any issues, and we'll take care of those.
Fixing plows, lights, wipers, and wheels to make sure the fleets are safe, stocked, and out in full force.
They take a pretty good beating when they're on the road, and have a lot of damage done to them. Sometimes they'll break something. They have to come in, repair it, and get it back out.
Public Information Officer Shantana Woodward says the trucks are not the only things overworked, saying the road crews have had boots on the ground for weeks.
You know, it's a difficult job when they're out around the clock. You know, the snow starts looking kind of crazy when you're driving in hours upon hours upon hours. You know, they're working, changing plow blades constantly. They're in the cold.
Asking folks to not only give them the space to work through whatever winter brings, but
I just ask that everybody, you know, give us a little bit of grace, and we're going to keep on keeping on.
In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
And I have seen some reports on social media in the last few minutes of roads deteriorating in some areas. So definitely take it easy out there tonight, as it always seems to get worse after dark. Officials encourage folks to visit snowky.ky.gov to see more information or monitor weather cams on major roadways ahead of any travel. And of course, you can always track the snow inside our free First Alert weather app. Scan the QR code there in the corner for links to download our news and weather apps. You'll be able to get severe weather alerts sent to your phone, see the latest closings, and sign up for breaking news alerts. Now, almost everyone in our region has electricity now after last weekend's winter storm. Around 1,000 customers are still in the dark in south central Kentucky, but that's down from more than 70,000 last weekend. Now, Pulaski County was one of the hardest hit areas in our region. Only around 200 customers at last check there are still without power. Well, some folks in Perry County are experiencing water issues, and officials with Hazard City Utilities are urging those using the city water to try and conserve it. WYMT's McKinley Calandrino spoke to city officials and those frustrated with the outage.
Nearly 400 residents in the northern part of Perry County say they are without water once again. Hazard City Manager Tony Eversole says this shutoff wasn't due to a water break or frozen pipes. It was simply the overuse of water throughout the county.
There's a 30 million gallon increase in consumption from last year to this year.
The city says their main priority is the hospitals and nursing homes, and they are attempting to salvage whatever water is left and use it wisely.
So I need to concentrate on any kind of excess, which we really don't have, is I need to be sending it north. I need to be filling up the Grapevine tank. I need to be filling up the Buellin tank, the hospital tank.
Tony says the population of Perry County is growing faster than the infrastructure, and the system has not been updated since nearly 2019. However, this leaves residents without water frustrated, as they feel this has happened one too many times. Adam Campbell believes it is an ongoing issue and told WYMT, quote, "I'm not one to complain, but this is ridiculous that we have to face this issue every year. So much money has been given in grants to the city to improve our water system, but seems like very little to nothing has been done." And while the city is providing water for residents during the outage, Adam says not all residents may be able to get to the distribution points. In Perry County, McKinley Calandrino, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Eversole says the $30 million new Buckhorn water plant is under construction, and he is hoping that will be done within the next 2 to 3 years. This plant is expected to help with water issues in the northern part of the county tremendously. The Booneville Water Department is also asking customers to conserve. City officials say tank levels have dropped there significantly. They are asking customers to stop running water and check their properties for leaks. They say the department will have to shut down service lines if tank levels continue to decline. A bill filed in Frankfort would create tougher penalties for child abusers. Senate Bill 138, also known as Jaden's Law, was introduced yesterday. It's named after Jaden Spicer, a 10-year-old from Breathitt County whose body was found in August. His mother reported him missing, and later she and Spicer's stepfather were charged in connection with his death. The proposed bill would make several changes, including creating a new offense for murder by abuse of a child and extending who could qualify for the death penalty in child abuse cases. Before being introduced, more than 3,000 people had signed a petition to put Jaden's Law into action.
We're watching a cold weather advisory as we're heading into the overnight hours.
And we'll look back on one of the biggest fires in central Kentucky's modern history, 10 years ago today.